I was 31. My body was radiated into menopause. I went from having a steady, regular flow to postmenopause. So when am I gonna experience my flow again? And he just looked at me like, that's done.
Today, we are having a conversation with
Yes.
Angeline Pierre. I love the
darling.
name Pierre. Angeline is a coach.
Yes.
She is a writer.
Yeah.
And you do stand-up also, am I correct?
Oh, no. I have done improv, but
Okay.
never stand up. That profession scares me.
She is a inner work coach, and she's also a producer. So today we are talking about menopause.
That's right.
Angeline is 36 years old.
I am.
And at the age of 30, Angeline started experiencing symptoms, or how does that work?
Yeah, so my menopause journey started a little different than most, where there is, I guess, the stages. There is perimenopause, then menopause, then post.
Yes.
I went from having a steady, regular flow to postmenopause.
Wow.
And so there might have been times where my body was catching up in between, but it went from I'm regular flow to nothing. But that's only because my body was radiated into menopause.
Tell me about that. What do you mean by radiated?
So I was born sickle cell anemic.
Okay.
You know a little bit about that.
Yes.
And in the process of healing and going on a healing journey, they developed a bone marrow transplant. Now, to go through a bone marrow transplant, your body is going to, if you just give your body like someone else's bone marrow cells, it's gonna be a war, right? There's gonna be so much fighting and all of this, so they have to go through extensive chemo, shut down your immune system, and then receive like new platelets, new bone marrow cells.
Okay, so in the process.
Yeah, so in the process of getting all of that done, the radiation, all of your body stops functioning for a little while. And so I no longer was having a period. I went through the assumption thinking that in the healing process, because they tell you you're gonna take about a year to heal. And I'm like, okay, in the healing process, this is all gonna come back to like be rebooted, come back online.
Right.
And so I'm sitting through this first year like, I don't have my period, this is great. For anyone who doesn't have to change sheets.
Okay.
You know, right?
Yeah.
So when I finally had a conversation with my doctor, he was like, that stopped. I was like, it really took me because he just said, I was like, so when am I gonna experience my flow again? I was like 30 going on 31. So when am I, that's the only thing that hasn't really been back. So when am I gonna start experiencing my flow again? And he just looked at me like, that's done.
Wow.
And I sat there like calculating, how someone can just go from, that's done. Leave it to a man, because he doesn't realize the statement that he's saying. Like the weight, I don't think he understood the impact of his statement in full. And so I sat there maybe a little in shock and maybe like, I didn't hear him right. And I was like, can you explain to me what you mean? He's like, no one talked to you about this? I was like, y'all gave me a thick old binder, and in the middle, it never talked about what you're telling me right now. So.
It's so funny. Were you having any symptoms?
So it took me a while to set apart which symptoms I was experiencing because I was coming back online and I was healing, and which symptoms I was experiencing because I was in menopause. And while I was doing the shifting, I was very confused because no one tells you like the hot flashes for one. I was going from, okay, I'm normal, to take all of my clothes off. It's itchy, it's too hot, I need to move. I need air conditioning, I need ice. And I was thinking, oh, this is because I went through chemo. No, that was for later down the road. I was like, that's not chemo, that's menopause. And then I would break out in these like, they weren't necessarily hives, but they would like little water welts.
Uh-huh.
So that would happen like my upper like clavicle, my chest area. And I was like, that's the radiation, chemo do weird things. I'm over here brushing off way too much, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's when I realized again, oh, this is menopause. it took some observations, and it took a lot of like researching to see what's normal, what's typical. Also, because bone marrow transplants aren't common, there's not like a common list of symptoms that you can read through to see and experience. But apparently the same thing happens with menopause. Like, I'm sure that's much more common, but there's not like a common list of symptoms that you can read through and you're like, you're gonna experience this and then that. So.
Wow. So how did you differentiate between the symptoms of chemo and menopause?
Length of time, that helped a lot, because once I was past that 1 year of healing where things kind of were supposed to be normal, whatever normal is, normal again, and then I was still experiencing these, I had to start equating them to different reasons. The hot flashes, once he said, no, that's done, and I was like, okay, so what are these hot flashes things I'm experiencing? And I had worked with someone, powerful woman named Yemi, and she would talk about like how she's having hot flashes, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of similar to what I've been experiencing. And then I was like, okay, that's one symptom down, but there's still so much going on with my body that I'm not quite sure how to categorize.
Did you ever speak to your mom about menopause,
No,
postmenopause? Why?
No, that's a good question. That is a good question. Those weren't the kind of conversations we were having. Like, even growing up, there's the settle of when you're growing up, you go through puberty. And I would say menopause has that similarity of like, or peri has that similarity of puberty. You know, you go through all these shifts and changes. But we had like one conversation about that. And she was like, oh, you got your period, good. And then she was like, I was so worried because I did get my period extremely late.
Wow.
That was that. So it just never seemed like the source of information.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the hardest point for you going through postmenopause?
It was in the realizing, I think, because there was still optimism that like certain things would happen, and then in the post-menopause you're like, oh wait, so I won't ever say there are possibilities that are off the table for me, but because in faith God can do all, right? But learning what your body's telling you, like if your period's not a normal thing anymore, it's not happening at all, then I came to the realization, I was like, wait a minute, so I can't technically have kids? And then that realization, I think it was until after I realized I couldn't have, that I was like, I think I kind of wanted kids.
Wow.
And
how old were you at that point?
I was 31. I was,
wow.
Yeah, I was still that was still very fresh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any resentment towards women or your mother for not educating you about menopause?
Absolutely not. I feel no resentment, because even though I know the conversations need to be brought to the table more openly, if anything, I have more resentment for the medical field. But even that, it's not resentment, because resentment is this feeling of something you notice that you kind of want to have, right? I would love more insight. I would love more studies, but I feel as if the medical field tends to see women's issues and go, hormones.
I remember when I went to my gynecologist and she asked me, it was my first time seeing her, she's like, how old are you? I said, I am 55. And she says, oh, so you're in menopause? I says, yes. It's like, okay, do you want hormone replacement? I said, excuse me?
Right, they go straight to that. Like, what is it? What do you got to do? What does that mean? How do you replace there's so many questions they don't even think.
No, they just go from A to Z.
A to Z.
And then then she asked me, how is sex? Oh, if you're having a dryness, here's some pills.
No explanations, whatever. No hand holding. No, they're just like they know they'll get through it.
Cut and dry.
It's very weird. I think in the delivery of the message, that's not happening no more. Like, I was confused because they just don't see it as something that should be delivered with, I guess, more compassion or empathy, or please slow it down, let me digest it, because you're telling me a lot.
That's the reason why I'm writing this book, Menopause Undaunted. In it, I go from perimenopause, menopause, which is technically just 1 day,
right,
into postmenopause. Now, I didn't even know that until I started writing this book.
That there's a post?
I thought, yes.
Yeah.
I thought post was after it was done.
Right. I was like, okay, so we get to the end. When I was reading it, okay, perimenopause, and then I had to learn that that's the beginning stages. Then menopause, I was like, okay, so it's not the whole thing, it's not menopause. And then post, I was like, so it doesn't end. Like,
Exactly. So in it, I have everything. The foods to stay away from during peri to help you transition into menopause. That will then transition into postmenopause. The foods, even liquor. You know, a lot of us, this dairy. So many, yeah, so many things. Yes, it exacerbates
and that's
it.
why I need your book.
And also have natural herbs that
See, I
actually
love
help.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I've been getting older, I'm like, I don't know what y'all be trying to put in my teas and in my coffees and in my anything. Give me the natural remedy, because there's a natural remedy somewhere. Like when I learned parsley tea is good for, I was like, excuse me.
Yes, yes, natural herbs, yes.
Natural herbs is where it's at. You don't need to do any of the, well, you might, depending on your experience. Yeah.
If you were sitting across from a group of women, what would you tell them about menopause, about postmenopause?
First of all, you're not crazy.
Oh, that's in my book. I think I've got in every chapter.
Knowing that you're not crazy, take a minute. That symptoms is actually happening to you. It doesn't have to look like what everybody else is experiencing, but you do have to take the willingness to advocate that, no, I'm experiencing this. I don't enjoy it. It's uncomfortable. How do I manage? Or, no, I'm experiencing this. It's taking me off guard. Is there anything I can do to do better, to experience it better, have a smoother process? Yes.
Is there anything that you would like the audience to know that you feel is important in regards to peri, meno, and postmenopause?
Like I said, with the peri and the menopause, I feel like I just super speeded through those stages. I think the importance is be wary of stress and be wary of what that's doing to your symptoms on the inside. And then the second thing is to be cautious of what advice you're taking.
That's good. I want to do something different, you know, as well as having my book. But Angeline, yeah, I am so honored that to have you sit down with me and to share your story, especially for someone so young.
That's the other thing, young women out there. Listen, if this takes you off guard and it's unexpected and it happens sooner than anybody, most of society is expecting as well, just keep telling people like, no, I'm going through it too. I know it's typically for women of a certain age, but like, we be the outliers, and that's okay. That is absolutely okay.
And just because you're going through postmenopause does not mean that you're old.
I'm still young and vibrant, baby.
And I'm still young and vibrant.
Exactly.
Also. What does refuse to fade means to you?
That means you are carrying a certain amount of audacity to just shine, all right? Because everyone is like, dim out, dim out, dim out. And you're like, no, I'm gonna shine, I'm gonna glow.
Oh, I love it, I love it. Thank you, because that's the premise of this entire conversation.
Yeah, well, that's what it means to me.
Thank you for joining us on Refuse to Fade with Elaine. And today, my special guest, Angeline Pierre.
Yes.
Until next time.
Bye.